So good morning. We are at the very end of this 10-week habit changing course. I'm really interested to see how it has worked for you, and I hope that you've gotten some value out of this and that it has really been helpful. Now that we're at the end, feel free to go back to any of the other modules that you felt like you didn't have enough time for, because you really want to give yourself as much time as you need to be able to do these, because sometimes 1 week it just isn't enough. I mean, the water thing, I find that that's like an ongoing thing. The vegetable thing, an ongoing thing, you know. This is a journey. It doesn't have an end. So I find myself repeating this, not every year, but like a couple of times a year, and that's totally fine. So there's a link in the group, and you go to musicstrong.com/top10. You'll get all the modules, and you can go back and listen, watch, read, do what you need to do. So for our last week, I'm curious on how it went for you with the setting the big goals. Pardon me. That's this week. On taking total responsibility. I know that's really scary, and it's not always the easiest thing to do, but there is power and ownership in that, you know? So this week, we're finally getting to goals. So this started out, when we started this was all about not making New Year's resolutions on January 1st and falling off the wagon. But it was about changing your habits around food and your mindset and being more self-aware and finding out all those things. And so that's why we didn't set goals on day one. That's why we didn't talk about exercise day one. That's how you fall off the wagon, and that's how you don't make progress. So hopefully this course has helped you, and now we're finally at the end where we can set some goals. So now is the time to make goals, okay? But we're not doing wishful thinking here. Actual goals. So this is where you can make an action plan. What I want you to do for this last final week, pardon me, is to start with a short list so you don't get overwhelmed, but write down the goals that you have. Start with a short list and set a date for each goal, okay? And then you're going to work backwards. You're going to write 5 action steps you can do every month, every week, and every day to make it towards your goal. For example, if your list includes reading 12 books in a year, write out which books, make a plan on how to get them, either paper or audio, then schedule 1 per month. Finally, schedule out time every week or every day to read until you accomplish your goal. See how we just kind of backed all that up? So, I mean, if 2020 and actually 2021, but really 2020 showed us anything, it's that we are capable of more than we think we are, which can be scary, you know? So what I want you to do is make one goal a BHAG, BHAG, which is a big, hairy, audacious goal, aka something scary that pushes you outside your comfort zone. This is easy to say, not easy to do, just like the slight edge, you know? Easy to do and easy not to do. So what I want you to do is take your biggest goal, multiply it times 10. I'm not kidding here. So for example, I want to decrease my debt in half in 1 year. That's your goal. Your big, hairy, audacious goal, I will be debt free in 1 year. You know that, I mean, it's kind of cliche, but you know what they say, reach for the stars, shoot for the moon. It's super cliche, but they say, shoot for the moon. If you fail, at least you'll land among the stars. It's kind of the same thing. You're trying to overshoot, right? Challenge yourself to do more than you think you're able to do. But you see why we waited to the end, right? So here's another example. I want to run a 5K in 3 months. Your big, hairy, audacious goal is I want to run a half marathon in a year. What about I want to make $5,000 a month? Your big, hairy, audacious goal is I will make $15,000 a month. Also, I want you to notice the change in voice. I want versus I will. I want this. Your new goal is I will do this. I will make this. I will have this, right? So that's our final goal. I'd love to know what your goals are. I mean, this whole thing has been about changing your habits, changing your mindset, really figuring out where you are and how you relate to food, how you relate to the habits and the things you have around food, the whole thing about eating undistracted and taking responsibility. It's going to be an ongoing thing, right? So I'm curious what your goals are. I've got several, but I'm gonna keep them under wraps for now. So here's the next step for this is that when it comes to these big, hairy, audacious goals, for some of them, you need to hire a coach. I'm not saying it has to be me, but think about it. If you want to learn to play a musical instrument, if you want to get the best experience and not have to unlearn bad habits, what do? You take private lessons. You hire a teacher. So if you think about Olympic athletes, they didn't get there by themselves, right? Olympic athletes have coaches. Why are we any different? We see coaching as a luxury sometimes, but really, if you think about your schooling when you grew up, right? That's coaching. Is that a luxury? I think it's kind of necessary. Teaching yourself to read is going to take a lot longer. If you have a teacher, you're going to learn a lot faster, right? So hire a coach. Whatever your goal is, put some real thought into this. It's not just about hiring somebody for the sake of hiring somebody. So the point is, like if you want to climb a mountain, you need a guide. Everybody from Oprah to presidents have hired Tony Robbins to coach them. I mean, everybody can stand to have a guide, somebody that can see you from the outside and go, you need this, you need that. Here's where you're holding yourself back. Here's what you need to do. And some of these life coaches I've been reading about. So if you guys, Jen Sincero wrote this book, like you're a BA and you're a BA at making money. And she hired this one coach, and I think it was David Nagel. She paid him $84,000 for one-on-one coaching. That's a huge, huge number, right? To some people. Some people it's not. But she stepped out in faith on that because she knew she was not going to get out of her own ways if she didn't hire him, she didn't figure out how to get the money to hire him. And that's a good thing because it really pushes you outside your comfort zone, which is where all growth happens. I've been dealing with something recently, and it's like, you know what? I think I know that this is true for me, that sometimes I self-sabotage because I'm afraid of success. I'm afraid to get out there and do something new. I love doing new things, but I'm working on something right now it's scary. It's big. It's way outside my comfort zone, and yet I'm really excited. But it's easy to self-sabotage because it's scary, right? So if I had a coach to guide me through this, and that's part of the other reason, is like I don't have a coach. I'm looking for one. That would make it so much, not easier, but it would be super helpful, right? I wouldn't feel alone. Another thought, I'm also looking for somebody to be my personal trainer. Why? Because I can't look at myself objectively. I won't stick to my stuff. And now that I'm healing from these injuries, I need someone who can look at me and say, do this, do that, do this, do that. And when you pay somebody, you got skin in the game, right? They're going to push you to do things that you ordinarily wouldn't do, right? So that's what I'm looking for myself. I don't know what your goals are, but that's what I want you to challenge you to do. So whether it's a life coach or a fitness coach, you will get where you want to go much faster and with better results if you hire a coach to teach you and guide you there. Plus, you have enough on your plate without figuring out everything else in the world, right? Why do you have to do everything yourself? You don't, right? So hire someone who is good at what you want to be good at, or in the case of a fitness coach, is good at guiding, teaching, and helping you do the work you might want to do but struggle with showing up to do it. Accountability is real, and someone you invest a good bit of money in means you've got skin in the game. It ensures you show up. We tend to not value things that we get for free, right? So put some skin in the game. When you're writing out your budget for a coach, for whatever it is. That's going to ensure you show up, and it'll also allow you to relax and trust your coach, which in turn allows them to do their best work with you. It's a win-win. Hire a coach. Do not try to do it all on your own. It doesn't have to be me. But wherever you've identified weaknesses and struggle points in this whole series, That's where you need to find a coach. And it's not just in this series, also, whatever your goals are. So maybe you've got this big, hairy, audacious goal, and it has nothing to do with food or fitness or weight loss or any of that. But yeah, you need some guidance. Maybe you want to learn a new instrument. Maybe you want to learn a language. Maybe you want to, what your coach could be Duolingo, right? Your coach could be a Facebook group. Your coach could be, it doesn't have to be the $84,000 coach, right? And it doesn't have to be a personal trainer. And it doesn't have to be, it can be anything. So I'd love to know what are your goals? Who is somebody that you think you should hire and why? And just think about in the long term how this is going to benefit you. Because we have a choice now. We've gone through this whole thing, and we have a choice to stay where we are and keep falling back in the same patterns, or we have a choice to get out where it's scary. And scary doesn't have to mean terrifying monsters, Sometimes scary is, this is my dream and it's what I want to do, but I am really scared. I'm scared of stepping out, doing the thing. I'm scared at succeeding at it even, because that means I really have to take ownership of this, and I have to even, this sounds kind of funny, but when you take ownership of whatever it is that you're doing, it can be scary to succeed, because then you have to acknowledge it. Then you have to live with it. Then you have to own it. And you have to be okay with saying, yeah, I can do this. I am good at this, even if it's scary. Okay? So, hire a coach. All right? I've really enjoyed having this series with you guys. It's been a lot of fun, and you've gotten to see my face heal throughout this whole situation. So, really hope you guys can join us in the group. It's called I Am Music Strong, and Facebook if you're watching this on YouTube later, or on my website. Please come join us. It's under Music Strong. Things are always better with community, right? This whole thing is about joining with other people to make your dreams come true, right? To change your habits, to share in the successes and failures and struggles, because it's not about doing it all by yourself. So let's do this, guys. Thanks for joining me, and feel free to go to musicstrong/top10. I'm sorry, musicstrong.com/top10, and go back over some of these that you might need to revisit. Give yourself more time and give yourself grace. And again, no judgment. We're just going at this with a sense of curiosity and creativity, and what are you going to find? What you find now, when you do this series again later, you might find something completely different, okay? Because your life changes. You change. So, thanks for joining me, and we'll see you in the group.